a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then, should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment? But pardon, gentles all, the flat unraised spirits that have dared upon this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty field of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little plays a million. And let us, ciphers to this greater comp, on your imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that must now deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishments of many years into an hourglass for the which supply. It me, chorus to this history, who, prologue-like, your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Well, the king is full of grace and fair regard,
and a true lover of the Holy Church.
Well, the courses of his youth promises not. No sooner had the breath left his father's body, but that his wildness mortified in him seemed to die too. Yet at that very instant, consideration, like an angel, came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body as a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a sudden scholar made. Never came reformation in a flood with such a heady current scouring faults. Nor never hydra-headed wilfulness so soon did lose his seat, and all at once, as in this king.
We are blessed in the change.
It must be so, for miracles are ceased. Therefore, we must needs admit the means how things are perfected.
But, my good lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the Commons? Doth his Majesty incline to it, or no?
He seems indifferent, or rather, he sways more upon our part than cherishes the exhibitors against us. Oh, the French ambassador upon that instant craved audience, and the hour, I think, is come to give him hearing. Is it 4 o'clock?
It is.
Then go we in to know of his embassy, which would ready guess I could declare before the Frenchman spoke a word of it.
I'll wait upon you, and I long to hear it.
Where's my gracious Lord of Canterbury?
Not here in presence.
Send for him, good uncle.
Shall I call in the ambassador, my liege?
Not yet, my cousin. We would be resolved before we hear him of some things of weight that task our thoughts concerning France.
God and his angels guard your sacred throne, and make you long become it.
My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the law select which they have in France, or should not, bar us in our claim. We charge you, in the name of God, take heed, for never two such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood, whose guiltless drops are every one a woe, a sore complaint against him whose wrongs give edge unto swords that make such waste in brief mortality. Under this conjuration, speak, my lord, for we will hear, note, and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience washed as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers that owe yourselves, your lives, and your services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to your highness' claim to France, but this which they produce from Pharamond. In terram salicum, mulieris succeedent. No woman shall succeed in Salic land, which Salic land the French unjustly glows to be the realm of France, and Pharamond, the founder of this law and female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Salic is in Germany betwixt the floods of Saale and Elbe, where Charles the Great, having subdued the Saxon, did left behind certain French, who, holding in disdain the German woman for some dishonorable manners of their life, established in this law, to wit, no female should be inheritrix in Salic land, which Salic land, as I said, twixt the floods of Elbe and Saale, is at this day in Germany, called Meissen. Then doth it well appear that this law was not devised for the realm of France, nor did the French possess the land Salic until 421 years after defunction of King Pharamond, idly supposed the founder of this law, who died in the year of our redemption, 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxon and left behind certain French beyond the river Saale in 805. Besides, their writers say King Pepin, which deposed Childeric, did as heir general, being descendant of Blithold, which was daughter to King Clothair, make claim and title to the crown of France. Hugh Capet also, who usurped the crown of Charles, the Duke of Lorraine, who was the sole male heir to the true line and stock of France, defined his title with some shows of truth, although in pure truth it was corrupt and naught, conveyed himself as heir to Lady Lingare, who's daughter to Charlemagne, who's the son to Louis the Emperor, who was the son to Charles the Great. King Louis X also, who's the sole heir to the usurper Capet, could not sit quiet in his conscience wearing the crown of France till satisfied that the fair Queen Isabel, his grandmother, was lineal of Lady Ermengar, the daughter of Charles, the aforesaid Duke of Lorraine, by the which marriage the line of Charles the Great was reunited with the crown of France. So, as clear as the summer sun, King Pepin, his title, Hugh Capet, his claim, King Louis, his satisfaction, all appear to hold in right and title of the female. Howbeit that they would use this Salic law to bar your highness' claim to France, and rather choose to hide them in a net than amply to embar their crooked titles usurped from you and your progenitors.
May I, with right and conscience, make this claim?
The sin upon my head, dread sovereign, for in the book of Numbers it is writ, when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. O gracious sovereign, stand up for your own. Unwind your bloody flag. Look back to your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb, from whom you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit and that of your great-uncle Edward the Black Prince, who in French land played a tragedy, making defeat of the full power of France, whilst on a mountain his most mighty father stood and smiled to behold his lion's whelp forage in the blood of French nobility, O noble English that could, with half their forces, entertain the full pride of France, and let another half stand laughing by, all out of work and cold for action.
Awake, remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arms renew their feats. You are their heir, you sit upon their throne. The blood and courage that renowned them runs in your veins, and my thrice puissant liege is in the very May-morn of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises.
Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth do all expect that you should rouse yourself, as did the former lions of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause and means and might. So hath your highness. Never king of England had nobles richer and more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France.
Oh, let their bodies follow, my dear liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right, in aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never at one time did the clergy bring into any of your ancestors.
We must not only arm to invade the French, but lay down our proportions in defence against the Scot, who will make road upon us with all advantages.
They of those marches, gracious sovereign, shall be a wall sufficient to defend our inland from the pilfering borderers.
We do not mean the coursing snatchers only, but fear the main intendment of the Scot, who've been still a giddy neighbour to us. For you shall read that my great-grandfather never went with his forces into France, but that the Scot and his unfurnished kingdom came pouring like the tide into a breach, with ample and brim fullness of his force, galling the green land with hot assays, girdling with grievous siege castles and towns, that England, being empty of defence, have shook and trembled at the ill neighbourhood.
She hath been more feared than harmed, my liege, for hear her but exampled by herself. When all her chivalry hath been in France, and she a mourning widow of her nobles, she had not only well defended, but had taken and impounded as a stray the King of Scots, whom she did send to France to fill King Edward's fame with prisoner kings, and make her chronicle as rich with praise as is the ooze and bottom of the sea, with sunken wreck and sumless treasuries.
But there's a saying very old and true. If that she will France win, then with Scotland first begin. For once the eagle England being in prey to her unguarded nest, the weasel Scot comes sneaking and so sucks her princely eggs, playing the mouse in absence of the cat, to tear and havoc more than she can eat.
Follows then that the cat must stay at home. Yet that is but a crushed necessity, since we have locks to guard, safeguard necessaries, and pretty traps to catch the petty thieves, while the armed hand doth fight abroad, the advised hand defends itself at home. For government, though high and low and lower, puts into path, doth keep in one consent, congreeing in a full and natural consent, like music.
Therefore doth heaven divide the state of man in diverse functions, setting endeavour in continual motion, to which is fixed as an aim or but obedience. For so work the honeybees, a creature that by a law in nature teach the active order to a people kingdom. They have a king and officers of sorts, where some like magistrates correct at home, others like merchants venture trade abroad, and others like soldiers, armed in their stings, make boot on the summer velvet buds, which pillage they, with merry march bring back to the tent royal of their emperor, who, busy in his majesty, surveying the singing masons building roofs of gold, the civil citizen kneading up the honey, the poor mechanic porters conveying their heavy burden at his narrow gate, the sad-eyed justice with his surly hum, delivering o'er the executor's pale the lazy yawning drone. I this infer that many things having reference to one consent may end in one purpose, and can work contrariously, as many arrows loosed several ways come to one mark, as many ways meet in one town, as many fresh streams meet in one salty sea, as many lines close in the dial center. So many a thousand things once afoot end in one purpose, and be all well born without defeat. So to France, my liege, divide your happy England into four, whereof take you one quarter into France, and you withal shall make all Gallia shake. If we, with thrice such number left behind, cannot defend our doors from the dog, then let us be worried, and our nation lose the name of hardiness and policy.
On the messengers sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge, or shall we sparingly show you far off the Dauphin's meaning and our embassy?
We are no tyrant, but a Christian king, and whose grace our passion is as subject as is our wretched fettered in our prisons. Therefore, with frank and with uncut plainness, tell us the Dauphin's mind.
Thus then, in few, your highness lately sending into France did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claims, the prince our master says that you savor too much of your use, and bids you be advised there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you. This the Dauphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France, by God's grace, play a set, shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. So get your hands in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will save a but shallow wit, when thousands weep more than did laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, let proportions for these wars be soon collected, and all things fought upon that may with reasonable swiftness add more feathers to our wings. For God before will chide this Dauphin at his father's door. Therefore, let every man now task is fought, that this fair action may on foot be brought.
Now thrive the armourers, and honour's thought reigned solely in the breast of every man. With crowns imperial, crowns and coronets promised to Harry and his followers, the French, advised by good intelligence of this most dreadful preparation, shake in their fear, and with pale policy seek to divert the English purposes. But see thy fault. France hath in thee found out a nest of hollow bosoms, which he fills with treacherous crowns. And 3 corrupted men, one Richard Earl of Cambridge, and the second Henry Lord Scroop of Masham, and the third Sir Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland, have for the guilt of France, oh, guilt indeed, confirmed conspiracy with fearful France. And by their hands this grace of kings must die, if hell and treason hold their promises, ere he take ship for France. And in Southampton, but till the king come forth, and not till then, unto Southampton do we shift our scene.
Well met, Corporal Nym.
Good morrow, Lieutenant Bardolph.
What? Are Ancient Pistol and you friends yet?
For my part, I care not. I say little, but when time shall serve, there shall be smiles. But that shall be as it may. I dare not fight, but I will wink and hold out mine eye. It's a simple one, but what though? It will toast cheese, and it will endure cold as another man's sword will, and there is an end.
I will bestow a breakfast to make you friends, and we'll be all three sworn brothers to France. Let it be so, good Corporal Nym.
Faith, I will live so long as I may. That's the certain of it. When I cannot live any longer, I shall do as I may. That is my rest. That is the rendezvous of it.
It is certain that he is married to Nell Quickly, and certainly she did you wrong, for you were troth plight to her.
I cannot tell. Things must be as they may. Men may sleep, and they may have their throats about them at that time. And some say knives have edges. It must be as it may. Though patience be at I may, yet she will plod. There must be conclusions. Well, I cannot tell.
Here comes Ancient Pistol and his wife. Good Corporal, offer nothing here. How now, mine host, Pistol?
Best tyke! Call'st thou me host? Now, by this hand I swear I scorn the tongue, nor shall my Nell keep lodgers.
No, by my troth, no long, for we cannot lodge aboard a dozen of 14 gentlewomen that live honestly by the prick of their needles. But it will be thought we keep a bawdy house straight. Oh, well a day, lady, if it be drawn now, we shall see wilful adultery and murder committed.
Good Lieutenant, good Corporal, offer nothing here.
Pish!
Pish for thee, Iceland dog, thou prick-eared cur of Iceland.
Good Corporal Nym, show the valor and put up your sword.
Will you shog off? I would have you soulless.
Soulless, egregious dog. Oh, viper vile, the soulless in thy most marvellous face, the soulless in thy teeth and in thy throat and in thy hateful lungs, yeah, and thy maw, putty, and, which is worse, within thy nasty mouth. I do retort the soulless in thy bowels, for I can take, and Pistol's cock is up, and flashing fire will follow.
I'm not Barbason, you cannot conjure me. I have an humour to knock you indifferently well. If you grow foul with me, Pistol, I will scour you with my rapier, as I may, in fair terms. If you would walk off, I would prick your guts a little, in good terms, as I may, and that is the humour of it.
Oh, braggart violent, damned furious wight, the grave doth gape and doting death is near, therefore exhale!
Hear me what I say. He that strikes the first stroke, I'll run him up to the hilt, as I am a soldier.
An oath of mickle might and fury shall abate. Give me thy fist, thy 4 foot to me give, thy spirits are most tall.
I will cut thy throat one time or other, in fair terms, that's the humour of it.
Cooper Gorge, that is the word I thee defy again. Oh, hound of Crete, think'st thou my spouse to get? No, to the spittle go, and from the powdering tub of infamy fetch forth the lazar kite of Cressid's kind. Doltaire she by name and her espouse. I have, and I will hold, the quondam quickly for the only she. And Porker, there's enough. Go to!
My name's Pistol. You must come to my master, and you, Ostat. He is very sick, and would to bed. Good Bardolph, put thy face between his sheets, and do the office of a warming pan. Faith, he is very ill.
Away, you rogue!
By my troth, you'll yield the crown a pudding one of these days. The king has killed his heart. Good husband, come home presently.
Come, shall I make you two friends? We must to France, together, Why the devil should we keep knives to cut one another's throats?
Let floods our swell, and fiends for food howl on.
You'll pay me the 8 shillings I won of you at betting.
Base is the slave that pays.
That now I shall have, that's the humour of it.
As manhood shall compound, push home.
By this sword, he that makes the first thrust, I'll kill him. By this sword I will.
Sword is an oath, and oaths must have their course.
Corporal Nym, and thou will be friends, and thou would not. Why then be enemies with me too. Prithee, put up.
I shall have my 8 shillings I won from you at betting.
A noble shalt thou have, and present pay. And liquor likewise will I give to thee, and friendship shall combine, and brotherhood. I'll stand by Nym, and Nym shall stand by me. Is not this just? For I shall sutler be unto the camp, and profits will accrue. Give me thy hand.
I shall have my noble.
In cash, most justly paid.
Well then, that's the humour of it.
As ever you come of women, come quickly to Sir John. Poor heart, he's so shocked of a burning quotidian fever that it's most lamentable to behold. Sweet man, come to him quickly.
The king hath run bad humours on the night, that's the even of it.
Nym, now I spoke the right, his heart is fracted and corroborate.
The king's a good king. There must be as it may, he passes some humours and careers.
Come, let us condole the night. For lambkins, we will live.
For God, his grace is bold to trust these traitors.
They shall be apprehended by and by.
How smooth and even they do bear themselves, as if allegiance in their bosoms had crowned with faith and constant loyalty.
The king hath note of all that they intend, by interception which they dream not of.
Nay, but the man that was his bedfellow, whom he hath doled and cloyed with gracious favours, that he should, for a foreign purse, so sell his sovereign to a life of death and treachery?
Now sits the wind fair, and we well aboard. My lord of Cambridge, and my kind lord of Masham, and you, my gentle knight, give me your thoughts. Think you not that the powers we bear with us shall cut their passage through the force of France, during the execution and the act for which we have in head assembled them?
No doubt, my liege, if each man do his best.
I doubt not that. Save us from heads that grows not in a fair consent with ours, nor leave not one behind that doth not wish success and conquest to attend on us.
Never was a monarch better feared and loved than is your majesty. There's not, I think, a subject that sits in heart's grief and uneasiness under the sweet shade of your government.
True. Those that were your father's enemies have steeped their galls in honey, and do serve you with heart's creative duty and of zeal.
We therefore have great cause of thankfulness, and shall forget the officer of our hand, sue that acquittance of desert and merit, according to the weight and worthiness.
So service shall with steeled sinews toil, and labour shall refresh itself with hope to do your grace incessant services.
We judge no less. Uncle of Exeter, enlarge that man committed yesterday that railed against our person. We consider it was excess of wine that set him on, and on his more advice we pardon him.
That's mercy, but too much security. Let him be punished, sovereign, lest example breed by his sufferance more of such a kind.
Oh, less yet be merciful.
So may, your highness. And yet punished too.
Though you show great mercy if you give him life after the taste of much correction.
Alas, your too much love and caring of me are heavy orisons against this poor wretch. If little faults proceeding on this distemper shall not be winked at, how shall we stretch our eye when capital crimes chewed, swallowed, and digested appear before us? We'll yet enlarge that man, for Cambridge Group and Masham, in their dear care and tender preservation of our person, would have him punished. And now, to our French causes. Who are the late commissioners?
I won, my lord. Your Highness bade me ask for it today.
So did you me, my liege.
And I, my royal sovereign.
Then Richard of Cambridge, there is yours. They're yours, Lord Scroop and Masham. And Sir Nod Grey of Northumberland, the same is yours. Read them, and know I know thy worthiness. My Lord of Westmoreland and Uncle Exeter, we will aboard tonight. Why, how now, gentlemen? What see you in those papers that you lose such complexion? Look to ye how they change, their cheeks are paper. Why, what read you there that have so coward and changed your blood or appearance?
I do confess my fault, and do submit me to your Highness's mercy.
To which we all appeal.
To which we all appeal.
The mercy that was quick in us but late, by your own excuses, is suppressed and killed. You must not dare for shame to talk of mercy. For your own reasons, turn into your bosoms as dogs upon their masters, worrying you. Arrest them till the answer of the law, and God acquit them at the practices.
I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Richard, Earl of Cambridge. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Henry, Lord Scroop of Masham. I arrest thee of high treason by the name of Thomas Grey, Knight of Northumberland.
Our purposes God justly hath discovered, and I repent my fault more than my death, which I beseech your Highness to forgive, although my body pay the price of it.
For me, the gold of France did not seduce, although I do admit it as a motive, the sooner to effect what I intended. But God be thanked for prevention, which I in sufferance will heartily rejoice, beseeching God and you to pardon me.
Never did faithful subject more rejoice at the discovery of most dangerous treason than I do at this hour. Joy on myself, prevented from a damned enterprise, my fault, but not my body. Pardon, sovereign.
God quit you in his mercy. Hear your sentence. You have conspired against our royal person, joined with an enemy proclaimed, and from his coffers received the gold and earnest of our death, wherein you would have sold your king to slaughter, his princes and his peers to servitude, his subjects to oppression and contempt, and his whole kingdom into desolation. Bear them hence. Now, lords, for France, let us deliver our prisoners into the hand of God, putting in Chile in expedition straight to sea. The signs of war advance. No king of England, if not king of France.
Prithee, honey, sweet husband, let me bring thee to Staines.
No, for my manly heart doth yearn. Bardolph, be blithe. Nym, rouse thy vaunting veins. Boy, bristle thy courage up. For Falstaff, he is dead, and we must yearn therefore.
Would I were with him wheresoe'er he is, either in heaven or in hell.
Nay, sure, he's not in hell, he's in Arthur's bosom, if ever men went to Arthur's bosom. He made a fine end, and went away, and it had been any Christian child. He parted even just between 12 of 1, even at the turning of the tide. For after I saw him fumble with the sheets, and play with flowers, and smile upon his fingers' ends, I knew there was just one way. For his nose was sharp as a pen, and he bubbled of green fields. What now, Sir John, quoth I, be a good man. So he cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. Now, I, to comfort him, bid him he should not think of God. I hope there was no need to trouble himself with any such thoughts yet. So he bade me lay more clothes on his feet. So I put my hand into the bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone. Then I fell to his knees, and then upward and upward, and all as cold as any stones.
They say he cried out a sack.
Aye, women.
Yeah, that he did.
And of women.
Nah, that he did not.
Yes, that he did. And he said they were the devils incarnate.
He could never abide carnation. 'Twas a colour he never liked.
Well, he once said the devil would have him about women.
He did in some sort. Indeed, but he was rheumatic and talked of the whole Babylon.
Do you not remember? He saw a flea stick on Bardolph's nose and said it were like a black soul burning in hellfire.
Well, the fuel is God that maintained that far. That's all the riches I got in his service.
Shall we shod? The king will be gone from Southampton.
Come, let's away. My love, give me thy lips. Look to my chattels and my movables. Let senses rule. The word is pitch and pay. Trust none, for oaths are straws. Men's fates are wafer cakes, and hold fast is the only dog, my duck. Therefore, Cavetto be thy counsellor. Go, clear thy crystals. Yoke fellows in arms, let us to France like horse leeches, my boys, to suck, the very blood to suck.
And that's but unwholesome food, they say.
Touch your soft mouth and march.
Farewell, hostess.
I cannot kiss, that is the humour of it, but adieu.
Let House Whiffery appear. Keep close, I thee command.
Farewell, adieu.
Thus comes the English, and with full power upon us. And more than carefully, it concerns us to answer royally in our defences. Therefore, the Dukes of Berry and Brabant, of Brittany and Orleans shall make forth, and you, Prince Dauphin, with all swift dispatch, to line and new repair our towns of war with men of courage and means defended. For England, his approaches make as fierce as water to the sucking of the Gulf. Fits us then to be as provident as fears may teach us out of late example left by the fatal and neglected English upon our fields.
My most redoubted father, it is most meet we that we arm ourselves against the foe, for peace should not so dull a kingdom, though no known war or quarrel were in question. But that defensive musters preparation should be maintained, assembled, and collected as if a war were in expectation. Therefore, I say, 'tis meet we all go forth to view the sick in the feeble parts of France. And let us do so with no show of fear. No. No more than if we had heard that England was busied with a Whitsun Marquis dance. For, my good liege, she is so idly kinged. Her sceptre so fantastically borne by a vain, giddy, shallow, humorous youth that fear, it attends her not.
Oh, peace, Prince Dauphin. You are too much mistaken in this king. Question, your grace, the late ambassadors. With what great state he heard their embassy? How well supplied with noble counsellors, how modest in exception, and with all, how terrible in constant resolution, and you shall find his vanities forspent, were but the outside of the Roman Brutus, covering discretion with a coat of folly, as gardeners do with eau Dieu, hide those roots that shall first spring and be most delicate.
Well, it is not so, my lord, I, constable. But though we think it so, it is no matter, huh? In cases of defense, it is best to weigh the enemy more mighty than he seems, so that the proportions of defense are filled. Oh, which of a weak and niggardly projection doth like a miser spoil his coat by scanting a little cloth?
Think we, King Harry strong, and princes, look, you strongly armed to meet him. The kindred of him hath been fleshed upon, and he is bred of that bloody strain that haunted us in our familiar paths. Witness our too much memorable shame when Cressy battle fatally was struck, and all our princes captived by the hand of that black name, Edward, Black Prince of Wales, whilst that his mountain sire on mountain standing, up in the air, crowned with the golden sun, saw his heroical seed and smiled to see him mangle the work of nature and to face the patterns that by God and by French fathers had 20 years been made. He is a stem of that victorious stock, and let us fear the native mightiness and fate of him.
Your Majesty, ambassadors from Harry King of England do crave your admittance.
We'll give them present audience. Go bring them. You see, this chase is hotly followed, friends.
Turn head and stop pursuit. For coward dogs almost spend their mouths when what they seem to threaten runs far before them. Good, my sovereign. Take up the English short and let them know of what a monarchy you are the head. Self-love, my liege, is not so vile a sin as self-neglect.
From our brother of England?
From him, and thus he greets your Majesty. He wills you, in the name of God Almighty, that you divest yourself and lay apart the borrowed glories that by gift of heaven, by law of nature, and of nations longs to him and to his heirs, namely the crown, and all wide stretched honours that pertain by custom and the ordinance of times unto the crown of France. That you may know 'tis no sinister nor no awkward claim, picked from the wormholes of long vanished days, nor from the dust of old oblivion raked. He sends you this most memorable line, in every branch truly demonstrative, willing you overlook this pedigree. And when you find him evilly derived from his most famed of famous ancestors, Edward the Third, he bids you then resign your crown and kingdom, indirectly held, from him, the native and true challenger.
Or else what follows?
Bloody constraint. For if you hide the crown, even in your heart, then will he rake for it. Therefore, in fierce tempest, Is he coming in thunder and in earthquake, like a Jove, that if requiring fail, he will compel, and bids you, in the bowels of the Lord, deliver up the crown, and to take mercy on the poor souls, for whom this hungry war opens its vasty jaws, and on your head, turning the widow's tears, the orphan's cries, the dead men's blood, the pining maiden's groans, for husbands, fathers, and betrothed lovers that shall be swallowed in this controversy. This is his claim, his threatening, and my message, unless the Dauphin be in presence here, to whom expressly I bring greeting too.
For us, we will consider this further. Tomorrow shall you bear our full intent back to our brother of England.
For the Dauphin, I stand here for him. What to him from England? Huh?
Scorn and defiance, slight regard, contempt, and anything that might not misbecome the mighty centre. Doth he prize you at? That says my king, and if your father's highness do not, in grant of all demands at large, sweeten the bitter mock you sent his majesty, he'll call you so hot an answer to it, that caves and roomy voltages of France shall chide your trespass and return your mock in second assent of the ordinance.
Say, if my father render fair return, it is against my will, for I desire nothing but odds with England. And to that end, matching his youth and vanity, I did present him with the Paris balls.
He'll make your Paris Louvre shake for it, were it the mistress court of mighty Europe, and be assured you'll find a difference, as we his subjects have him wonder found between the promise of his greener days and these his masters now. Now he weighs time even to the utmost grain, that you shall read in your own losses, if we stay in France.
Tomorrow shall you know our mind at full.
Dispatch us with all speed, lest that our king come here himself to question our delay, for he is footed in this land already.
You shall be soon dispatched, and with fair conditions. A night is but a small breath and a little pause to answer matters of this consequence.
Ha!
Thus, with imagined wing, our swift scene flies, in motion of no less celerity than that of thought. Suppose that you had seen the well-appointed king at Hampton Pier embark his royalty, and his brave fleet with silken streamers the young Phoebus spanning. Play with your fancies, and in them behold, upon the hempen tackle, ship boys climbing. Hear the shrill whistle which doth order give to sounds confused. Behold the threaden sails, borne with the invisible and creeping wind, draw the huge bottoms through the furrowed sea, breasting the lofty surge. Oh, who would think you stand upon the rivage, and behold a city on the inconstant billows dancing? For so appears this fleet majestical, holding due course for half lure. Follow, follow, grapple your minds to sternage of this navy, and leave your England as dead midnight still, guarded with grandsires, babies, and old women, either past or not yet arrived to pith and puissance. For who is he whose chin is but enriched with one appearing hair, that would not follow these cold and choice-drawn cavaliers to France? Work, Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded Harfleur. Suppose the ambassador from the French comes back, tells Harry that the king will offer him Catherine, his daughter, and with her to dowry some petty and unprofitable dukedoms. The offer likes not, and the nimble gunner with linstock now the devilish cannon touches. Down goes all before them. Still, be kind and eke out our performance with your mind.
Once more into the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favoured rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the porch of the head like the brass cannon. Let the brow overwhelm it as fearfully as does the gold rock overhang and jut his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth, stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath, and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, ye noblest English, whose blood is fed from fathers of war proof. Dishonour not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeomen, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base that have not noble lustre in your eyes. And I see you stand, like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the stot. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry God for Harry, England, and St. George.
On to the breach! To the breach!
Pray thee, Corporal, stay. The knocks are too hot. For mine own part, I have not a case of lives. The humour of it is too hot, that's the very plain song of it.
The plain song is most just, for humours do abound, knocks go and come, God's vassals drop and die. Sword and shield in bloody field doth win immortal fame.
Oh, would I were in an alehouse in London, I would give all my fame for a pot of ale in safety.
And I, if wishes would prevail with me, my purpose should not fail with me, but thither would I hie.
Oh, as duly, but not as truly, as bird doth sing on bough.
Up to the breach, you dogs! Avaunt, you callions!
Merciful great Duke to men of mould, abate thy rage, abate thy manly rage, abate thy rage, great Duke. Good Borcock, abate thy rage, use lenity, sweet chuck.
These be good humours. Your honour wins bad humours.
Captain Llewellyn, you must come presently to the mines. The Duke of Gloucester would speak with you.
To the mines? Tell you the Duke, it is not so good to come to the mines. For look you, the mines is not according to the disciplines of the war. The concavities of it is not sufficient. For look you, the adversary, you may discuss unto the Duke. Look you, is doubt himself 4 yard under the countermines. By Shishu, I think I will plough a ball if there is not better directions.
The Duke of Gloucester, to whom the order of the siege is given, is altogether directed by an Irishman, a very valiant gentleman, in faith.
It is Captain Moss, is it not?
I think it be.
Oh, by Shishu, he is an ass! As in the world, I will verify as much in his beard. He has no more directions in the true disciplines of the wars. Looking for the Roman disciplines, and there's a puppy dog.
Oh, well, here he comes. Oh, and Scott's captain, Captain Jamie, with him.
Well, Captain Jamie is a marvellous, flawless gentleman, that is certain, and of great expedition and knowledge in the ancient wars. Upon my particular knowledge of his directions, by Tishu, he will maintain his argument as well as any military man in the world, in the disciplines of the Christian wars of the Romans.
I say good day, Captain Llewellyn.
Oh, God den to your worship, good Captain James.
How now, Captain McMorris? Come you from the mines? Have the pioneers given over?
By Christ, lads, it's ill done. The work is give over. The trumpets sound a retreat. My hand, I swear, and my father's soul, the work is ill done. It's give over. I would have blowed up the town, so Christ save me, lad, in an hour. Oh, 'tis ill done. 'Tis ill done. 'Tis ill done.
Captain McMorris, I beseech you now, will you vouchsafe me, look you, a few disputations with you, as partly touching or concerning the disciplines of the war, the Roman wars in the way of argument, look you, and friendly communication, partly to satisfy my opinion, and partly for the satisfaction, look you, of my mind, as touching the direction of the military discipline, that is the point.
It shall be very good faith, good Captain's boss, and I shall quit you with good leave as I may beg occasion at Salamari.
It is no time to discourse, on Christ save me! The day is hot, and the weather, and the wars, and the king, and the dukes. It is no time to discourse. The town is besieged, and the trumpet call us to the breach, and we talk, and be Christ, do nothing. It's a shame to stand still. It's a shame for us all, so God save me. It is shame. And there's throats to be cut, and works to be done, and there's nothing done, so save me, la!
By the messer, these eyes of mine take themselves to slumber. I'll be good service, or I'll lay in the ground for it, aye, or I'll go to death. And I'll pay it as gloriously as I may. That's the last solely do, and that is the breath and the lung. Marry, I would fill find some question between you two.
Captain McMorris, I think, look you, there's under your correction, there is not many of your nation.
Of my nation? What is my nation? Is it a villain? Or a bastard? And a knave and a rascal? My nation. Who talks of my nation?
Look, you, if you take the matter otherwise than this meant, Captain McMorris, peradventure I should think you do not use that appropriately as an expression you ought to use me, being as good a man as yourself, both in the disciplines of war and in the derivation of my birth, and in other particularities.
I do not know you so good a man as myself, so Christ save me. I will cut off your head.
Gentlemen, both, you will mistake each other.
Ah, that's a foul fault.
The town stands a parley.
Captain McMorris, when there is no better opportunity to be required, look you, I will be so bold as to tell you, I know the disciplines of war, and there is an end.
How yet resolves the governor of the town?
Our expectation hath this day an end. The Dauphin, of whom succours we entreated, returns us that his powers are not yet ready to raise so great a siege. Therefore, great king, We yield our town and our lives to thy soft mercy. Enter our gates. Dispose of us and ours, for we are no longer defensible.
Open your gates. Come, Uncle Exeter, go you and enter Harfleur, there remain, and fortified strongly against the French. Use mercy to them all for us, dear uncle. The winter coming on, sickness growing upon our soldiers, we will retire to Calais. Tonight in Harfleur will we be your guest. Tomorrow for the march are we addressed.
Alice, tu as été en Angleterre et tu parles bien le langage.
Un peu, madame.
Je te prie, monseigneur, il faut que je prenne à parler. Comment appelez-vous le main en anglais?
La main est appelée deux hand.
Deux hand. Et les doigts?
Les doigts. Ma foi, j'oublie les doigts. Mais je souviendrai. Je pense qu'ils sont appelés deux fingres. Oui, deux fingres.
Le main, deux hand. Les doigts, deux fingres. Je pense que je suis le bon écolier. Je gagne 2 mots d'anglais vitement. Comment appelez-vous les ongles?
Les ongles, nous les appelons deux nails.
Deux nails. Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. Deux hand, deux fingers et deux nails.
C'est bien dit, madame. Il est bon pour l'anglais.
Dites-moi l'anglais pour les bras.
D'armes, madame.
Et le coude?
D'elbow.
D'elbow. Je m'en fais la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez appris dès à présent.
Il est trop difficile, madame, comme je pense.
Excusez-moi, Alice. Écoutez. De hand, de fingers, de nails, d'armes, de bilbo.
D'elbow, madame.
Oh, Seigneur Dieu, je m'en oubliais. D'elbow. Comment appelez-vous le col?
De nick, madame.
De nick. Et le menton?
De chin.
De sin. Le col de nick. Le menton de sin.
Oui, sur votre honneur, en vérité, vous prononcez les mots aussi droit que les natifs d'Angleterre.
Je ne doute point dépendre, par la grâce de Dieu, et un peu de temps.
N'avez-vous pas déjà oublié ce que je vous enseignais?
Non, je réciterai à vous promptement. De hand, de fingers, de nails.
De nails, madame.
De nails, de arm, de bilbo.
D'elbow.
Ainsi dis-je, d'elbow, de nick et de sin. Comment appelez-vous le pied et la robe?
De foot, madame, et de cun.
De foot et de cun? Oh, Seigneur Dieu, ils sont les mots de sont mauvais, corruptibles, gros et impudiques, et non pour les dames d'honneur de user. Je ne voudrais prononcer ces mots devant les seigneurs de France pour tous les mots. Le foot et les cun. Ni moi, je réciterai une autre fois ma leçon ensemble. De hand, de fingers, de nails, de arm, de elbow, de nick, de sin, de foot, de cun.
Excellent, madame.
C'est assez pour une fois. Allons-nous à dîner.
Is certain he had passed the river Somme.
And if he be not fought withal, my lord, let us not live in France. Let us quit all and give our vineyards to a barbarous people.
Oh, Dieu vivant! Shall a few spoils of us, the emptying of our father's luxury, and our scions put in wild and savage stock, spurt up so suddenly overlooking their grafters?
Normans, but bastard Normans, Norman bastards. Mort de ma vie. If they march along, unfought withal, but I will sell my dukedom to buy slavery and a dirty farm in that nook-shotten isle of Albion.
Dieu de bataille! Why have they this metal? Is not the climate foggy, raw, and dull? On whom, as in despite, the sun looks pale, killing their foot with frowns. Can sodden water, a drench for sucking jades, their barley broth, decoct their cold blood to such valiant eat? And shall our quick blood, spirated with wine, seem frosty? Oh, for honour of our land, let us not hang like roping icicles upon our houses' thatch, whilst a more frosty people sweat drops of valiant youth in our rich fields. Poor, we call them, in their native lords.
By faith and honour, shall our madams mock at us and plainly say that our metal is bred out, and they will give their bodies to the lust of English youths, to New Star France with bastard warriors?
They beat us to the English dancing schools and teach La Voltas High and Swift Corantos, saying our grace is only in our heels, and that we are most lofty runaways.
Where is Mountjoy the Herald? Speed immense. Let him greet England with our sharp defiance. Up, princes, and with spirit of honour edged more sharply than your sword, I to the field. Charles Delabret, I Constable of France, you Dukes of Orleans and Bourbon, and of Berry, Alençon, Brabant, Bar, and Burgundy, Jacques Chatillon, Rambures, Vaudemont, Beaumont, Grand Pré, Roussy, and Fauconbridge, Foix, Lestrade, Bobbico, and Charleroi. I, Dukes, great princes, barons, lords, knights, for your great seats, now quit you of great shame. Bar Harry England that rushes through our lands with pennons painted in the blood of our floor. Rush on his host, as doth the melting snow upon the valley, whose low vassal seat the Alps doth spit their room and void it upon them. Go down upon him. You have power enough. And in captive chariot, into Rouen bring him our prisoner.
This becomes the great. Sorry am I, his numbers are so few, his soldiers sick and famished in their march. For I am sure, when he shall see our armies, he will drop his heart into the sink of fear, and for achievement offer us his ransom.
Therefore, Lord Constable, haste on Mountjoy, and let him say to England that we send to know what willing ransom he will give. Prince Dauphin, you shall stay with us here in Rouen.
No, not so. I do beseech your majesty.
Be patient, for you shall remain with us. Now forth, Lord Constable, and princes all, and quickly bring us news of England fall!
How now, Captain Llewellyn? Coming from the bridge?
Oh, I assure you, by his very excellent services committed at the bridge.
But is the Duke of Exeter safe?
Oh, the Duke of Exeter is as magnanimous as Agamemnon, and a man that I love and honour with my soul, my heart, and my duty, my life, my living, and my uttermost power. He is not, God bless him, please, any hurt in the world, but he keeps the bridge most honey. excellent discipline. There is an ancient lieutenant there at the bridge. I think my very conscience is as valiant a man as Mark Antony. And he is a man of no estimation in the world, but I did see him do his gallant service.
What do you call him?
He is called Ancient Pistol.
No, I know him not.
It is the man.
Captain! I thee beseech to do me favours. The Duke of Exeter doth love thee well.
I praise God. I have some love, as he says.
Bardolph, a soldier firm and sound of heart, of buxom valour, hath by cruel fate and giddy fortune's furious fickle wheel, that goddess blind that stands rolling restless home.
By your patience, Ancient Pistol. Fortune is painted blind, with a muffler for his eyes to signify to you that Fortune is blind. She is also painted with a wheel, to signify to you, which is the moral of it, that she is turning and inconstant, mutability and variation. And her foot, look you, is fixed upon this fellow stone, which rolls and rolls and rolls. That Ingletruth, the poet, makes a most excellent description of it. Fortune is next no more.
Fortune is Bardolph's foe, and frowns on him, for he hath stolen a pax, and hanged must be, and damn their death. Let gallows gape for dog, let man go free, and let not hemp his windpipe suffocate. But Exeter hath given the doom of death for pax of little price. Therefore go, speak. The Duke will hear thy voice, and let not Bardolph's vital thread be cut with edge of penny cord and vile reproach. Speak, captain, for his life, and I will thee requite.
I can partly understand you mean.
Well then, rejoice therefore.
Oh, certainly, Ancient, it is not a thing to rejoice at. For if, look you, he were my brother, I would desire to use his good pleasure and put him to execution, for discipline ought to be used.
I'll be damned! A fico for thy friendship!
Oh, it is well.
A fig of Spain!
Oh, very good.
Why? This is an arrant, counterfeit rascal. I remember him now, aboard a cut purse.
I assure you that I uttered just brave words at the bridge you should see in a summer's day. But it is very well. What he has spoke to me, that is well. I warrant you when time is served.
Why, he is a gull, a fool, a rogue who now and then goes to the wars to grace himself at his return into London under the form of a soldier. And such fellows are perfect in the great commander's names, and they will learn you by rote where services were done at such and such a sconce, at such a breach, at such a convoy, who was shot, who disgraced, who came off bravely, what terms the enemy stood on. And this they con perfectly in the phrase of war, which they trick up with new-turned oaths. And what a beard of the general's cut will do among foaming bottles and ale-washed wits is wonderful to be thought on. You must learn to know such slanders of the age, or else you will be marvelly mistook.
Tell you what, Captain Gower, I do perceive he is not the man that he would gladly make show to the world yet. If I find a hole in his coat, I will tell him my mind. Hark you, the king is coming, and I must speak with him from the bridge. God bless your majesty.
How now, Llewellyn? Kings fell from the bridge?
Aye, so please your majesty. The Duke of Exeter's very gallantly maintained the bridge. The French is gone off. look you, and there is gallant and most brave passages. Mary, the adversary, was her position on the bridge, but he is forced to retire. And the Duke of Exeter is master of the bridge. I can tell you, man, that Majesty, the Duke is a brave man.
What men have you lost through, Ellen?
Oh, the perdition of the adversary hath been very great. Reasonable great. Mary, for my part, I think that you have lost never a man, but one that is like to be executed for robbing a church. One Bardolph, yeah, if your Majesty know the man. His face is all bubbles and welts and knobs, flames of fire. His lips blows at his nose, and it's like a coal of fire, sometimes blue and sometimes red. But his nose is executed, and his fire's out.
We would have all such offenders so cut off, and we give express charge in our marches through the country. There be nothing compelled from villages, nothing taken but paid for. None of the French upbraided or abused through disdainful language. But when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the general gamester is the soonest winner.
Non mi pas rapide.
Well, then I know thee. What shall I know of thee?
My master's mind.
Unfold it.
Thus says my king. Says after Harry of England, though we seem dead, we did but sleep. Advantage is our better soldier than rashness. Tell him we could have rebuked him at Harfleur, but that we sought not good, the rules and injury did before. Now we speak upon our cue, and our voice is imperial. England shall repent his folly, see his weakness, and admire our sufferance. Bid him therefore consider of his ransom, which must proportion the losses we have made, the subjects we have lost, the disgrace we have digested, which in wait to re-answer his pettiness would bow under. For our losses his exchequer is too poor, for the effusion of our blood, the muster of his kingdom too faint a number, and for our disgrace, his own person kneeling at our feet but a weak and worthless satisfaction. To this at defiance, and tell him he hath betrayed his followers, whose condemnation is pronounced. So far, my king and master, so much my office.
What is thy name? I know thy quality.
Montjoy.
Or dost thy office fairly? Turn me back, and tell thy king I do not seek him now, but could be willing to march on to Calais without impeachment. Or to say the sooth, though 'tis no wisdom to confess so much unto an enemy of craft and vantage. My people are as much enfeebled, my numbers lessen, and those few I have almost no better than so many French. Who, when they were in health, I tell thee, Harold, I thought upon one pair of English legs did march 3 Frenchmen. Yet forgive me, God, I do brag thus. This sure air of fact above no license. My ransom is this frail and worthless trunk. My army but a weak and sickly guard. Yet God before, tell him we will come on, for France himself and such of our neighbours stand in our way. There's for thy labour, Montjoy, go bid thy master well advise himself. We would not seek a battle as we are, nor as we are we say we shall not shun it. So tell your master.
I shall deliver so, thanks to your highness.
I hope they will not come upon us now.
We are in God's hands, brother, not in theirs. Watch the bridge, now draws towards night. Beyond the river encamp ourselves, and on tomorrow bid them march away.
I have the best armor of the world.
You have an excellent armor, but give my horse his due, huh?
It is the best horse of Europe.
Will it never be morning?
My lord of Orleans, my lord High Constable. You talk of horse and armor.
You are as well provided of both as any prince in the world.
What a long night it is, huh? I will not change my horse for any that treads upon 4 bastions. For he bounds the earth as if his entrails were airs. Le cheval volant, the Pegasus, qui a les narines de fort when I bestride him. I saw. I am the hawk, and he trots the air, the earth. It sings when he touches it. The bassest horn of his hoof is more musical than the pipe of Hermes.
He's of the color of nutmeg.
Oh, and the heat of ginger. It is a beast for Perseus. He is pure air and fire, and the dull elements of earth and water never appear in him, but only in patient stillness while his rider mounts him. He is indeed a horse, and all other jades you may call beasts.
Indeed, my lord, it is a most absolute and excellent horse.
It is the Prince of Palfreys. His neigh is like the bidding of a monarch, and his countenance enforces homage.
No more, cousin, huh?
Nay, the man that hath no wit that cannot, from the rising of the lark to the lodging of the lamb, very deserved praise on my palfrey. It is a theme as fluent as the sea, turns the sand into eloquent tongues, and my horse is an argument for them all. It is a subject for a sovereign to reason on, and for a sovereign to ride on, and for the world, familiar to us and unknown, to lay apart their particular functions and wonder at him. I once read a sonnet in his praise. It began thus. Wonder of nature.
I have heard a sonnet begin so to one's mistress.
Then they did imitate that which I composed for my courser, for my horse is my mistress.
Your mistress bears well.
Me well, which is prescript praise and perfection for a good and particular mistress.
For me thought yesterday your mistress shrewdly shook your back.
And so perhaps did yours, huh?
Mine was not bridled.
Then be like she was old and gentle, and you rode like a kern of Ireland, your French foal hose off, and your straight horses, huh?
You have good judgment in horsemanship.
Be warned by me then. They that ride so, and ride not warily, fall into foul bogs. I would rather have my horse to my mistress.
I had lief have my mistress a jade.
I tell thee, constable, my mistress wears his own hair.
I could make as true a boast as that, if I had a sow to my mistress.
Les trouées ervertene son prompère vomissement et la trouée la verbombère. Thou makest use of anything.
Yet I do not use my horse for my mistress, or any such proverb so little kin to the purpose.
Oh, my Lord Constable, the armour that I saw in your tent tonight, are those stars or suns upon it?
Ah, stars, my lord.
Some of them will fall tomorrow.
And my sky shall not want.
That may be. For you bear many superfluously, and 'twere more honour somewhere away.
Well, even as your horse bears your praises. Oh, would trot as well were some of your brags dismounted.
I would I were able to load him with dessert. Huh? Oh, will it never be day, huh? I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces.
I will not say so, for fear I should be paved out of my way. But I would it were morning, for I would fain be about the ears of the English.
Who will go to Hazard with me for 20 prisoners?
You must first go yourself to Hazard ere you have them.
'Tis midnight. I shall go arm myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning.
He longs to eat the English.
I think he will eat all eagles.
By the white hand of my lady, he's a gallant prince.
I swear by her foot that she may tread out the oath.
He's simply the most active gentleman in France.
Doing his activity, and he will still be doing.
He never did harm that I heard of.
Nor will do none tomorrow. He will keep that good name still.
I know him to be valiant.
I was told that by one who knows him better than you.
Huh? What's he?
Marie, he told me so himself, and he said he cared not who knew it.
He needs not, it is no hidden virtue in him.
By my face, but it is. Never anybody saw it. Oh, but he's lucky. It is a hooded valor, and when it appears, it will bait.
Ill will never said well.
I will cap that proverb with, there is flattery in friendship.
And I will take that up which gives the devil his due.
Ah, well placed. There stands your friend for the devil, up at the very eye of that proverb with a pox of the devil.
You are the better at proverbs by how much a fool's boat is soon shot.
Oh, you are shot over.
It is not the first time you were overshot.
My lord High Constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tents.
Who has measured the ground?
The Lord Grand Prix.
An excellent, a most valiant gentleman. Would it were day? Alas, poor Harry of England. He longs not for the dawning, as we do.
What a wretched and peevish fellow is this King of England, to mope with his fat-brained followers so far out of his knowledge.
If the English had any apprehensions, they could run away.
That they lack, for if their heads had any intellectual armour, they could never wear such heavy headpieces. Huh?
That island of England, these very unmatchable creatures, they're massive, are of valiant courage.
Foolish curs that run winking into the mouth of a Russian bear and have their heads crushed like rotten apples. Well, you may as well say, oh, there's a valiant flea that they'll eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion.
Just. And the men do sympathize with the mastiffs, with robustious and rough coming on, leaving their wits with their wives, and then give them great meals of beef and iron and steel. They will eat like wolves and fight like devils.
Oui, but these English are shrewdly out of beef.
Then tomorrow we shall find they only have stomachs to eat and none to fight. Now, is it time to arm? Come, shall we about it?
It is now 2 o'clock, and let me see, by 10 we shall each have 100 Englishmen.
Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their poorly flames each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ear. And from the tents the armourers, accomplishing the nights with busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. Do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the crippled, tardy-gated knight, who, like a foul and ugly witch, doth limp so tediously away. Poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gestures sad, investing lank lean cheeks and war-torn coats, presenting them unto the gazing moon. So many horrid ghosts. Oh, now, who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent? Let him cry, praise and glory on his head. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor doth he dedicate one jot of colour unto the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks. A largest, universal like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to every one. Thawing cold fear, the mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define a little touch of Harry in the night. And so our scene must to the battle fly, where, oh, for pity, we shall much disgrace with 4 or 5 most vile and ragged foils, right ill disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be.
Gloucester, 'tis true we are in great danger, the greater therefore should our courage be. Good morrow, brother Bedford. God Almighty, there is some soul of goodness in things evil, would men observingly distill it out. For our bad neighbour has been made us early stirrers, which is both health for our and good husbandry. Thus may we gather honey from the weed and make a moral of the devil himself. Good morrow, Sir Thomas Erpingham. A good soft pillow for that good white head were better than a churlish turf of France.
Not so, my liege. This lodging likes me better, since I may say, now lie I like a king.
'Tis good for men to love their present pains upon example, so the spirit is eased. And when the mind is quickened, out of doubt the organs, though defunct and dead before, break up their drowsy grave and newly moved with casted slough and fresh legarity. Let me find cloaks, Sir Thomas. Brothers both, commend me to the princes in our camp. Do my good morrow to them, and anon desire them all to my pavilion.
We shall, my liege.
Shall I attend your grace?
No, my good knight, go with my brothers to my lords of England. I and my bosom must debate a while, and then I would no other company.
The Lord in heaven bless thee, noble Harry.
God a mercy, old heart, thou speakest cheerfully.
Kavula!
A friend?
Discuss unto me, art thou officer, or art thou base, common, and popular?
I am a gentleman of a company.
Trailst thou the puissant pike?
Even so, what are you?
What, as good a gentleman as the emperor?
Then you are better than the king.
Ah, the king's a warcock and a heart of gold, lad of life, an imp of fame, parents good of fist, most valiant. I kiss his dirty shoe, and from heartstring I love the lovely bully. What's thy name?
Harry Leroy.
Leroy, oh, a Cornish name. Art thou a Cornish crew?
No, I am a Welshman.
Knowst thou Fluellen?
Yes.
Tell him I'll knock his leek about his pate upon St. Davy's Day.
Do not you wear your daddy in your cap that day, lest he knock that about yours.
Art thou his friend?
And his kinsman too.
Oh, the fico for thee then.
I thank you. God be with you.
My name is Pistol called.
It sorts well with your fierceness.
Captain Plumullen.
So, in the name of Jesus Christ, speak lower. It is the greatest admiration in the universal world when the true and ancient prerogatives and laws of the wars is not kept. If you would take the pains but to examine the wars of Pompey the Great, you shall find, I warrant you, that there is no tittle-tattle nor pibble-pabble in Pompey's camp. I warrant you, you shall find the ceremonies of the wars and the cares of it and the forms of it and the sobriety of it and the modesty of it to be otherwise.
Why, the enemy is loud. You hear him all night.
If the enemy is an ass and a fool and a prating coxcomb, it is meet, think you, that we should also, look you, be an ass and a fool and a prating coxcomb in your own conscience now.
I will speak lower.
Oh, I pray and beseech that you will.
Well, in parallel our fashion, there is much care and valour in this Welshman.
Brother John Bates, is not that the morning that breaks yonder?
Oh, I think it be, though we have no great cause to desire the approach of day.
We see yonder the beginning of the day, but I think we'll never see the end of it. Who goes there?
A friend.
And what captain serve you?
Under Sir Thomas Erpingham.
Good old commander and a most kind gentleman. Pray you, what thinks he of our estate?
Even as men wrecked upon a sand that looked to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told his thoughts to the king.
No, nor is it not meet he should. Before I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. Therefore, when he sees reason of fears as we do, his fears, no doubt, be of the same relish as ours are. Yet, in reason, no man should possess them with any appearance of fear, lest he, by showing it, should dishearten his army.
He may show what outward courage he will, but I believe, as cold a night as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck, and so I would he were, and I by him at all adventures, so we were quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience to the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
Then I wish he were here alone. So should he be sure to be ransomed, and many a poor man's life saved.
I dare say you love him not so ill to wish him here alone, howsoever you speak this to fill other men's minds. Methinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honourable.
That's more than we know.
Aye, or more than we should seek after, for we know enough, if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, then our allegiance to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if the cause be not good, the king himself have a heavy reckoning to make, when all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in a battle shall join together at the latter day and cry, "Oh, we died at such a place." Some swearing, some crying, some upon their wives left poor behind them, some upon the debts they owe, some upon their children rawly left. I'm afeard there are few die well that die in a battle, for how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now, if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it, who to disobey were against all proportion of subjection.
The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers, the father of his son, nor the master of his servant, for they purpose not their death when they purpose their services. Some, peradventure, have on them the guilt of premeditated and contrived murder. Some are beguiling virgins with the broken seal of perjury. Some making the wars their bulwark that have before God the gentle bosom of peace with pillage and robbery. Now, if these men have defeated the law and outrun native punishment, though they can outstrip men, they have no wings to fly from God. Every subject's duty is the king, but every subject's soul is his own. Therefore should every soldier in the wars do as every sick man in his bed, wash every mote out of his conscience, and dying so, death is to him advantage, or not dying, the time was blessedly lost wherein such preparation was gained. And in him that escapes, it were not sin to think that making God so free an offer, he let him outlive that day to see his greatness and teach others how to he should prepare.
'Tis certain, every man that dies ill, the ill upon his own head. The king is not to answer it.
No, I do not desire he should answer for me, and yet I determined to fight lustily for him.
I myself heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
He said so, to make us fight cheerfully. But when our throats are cut, he may be ransomed, and we ne'er the wiser.
If I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
You pay him then. That's a perilous shot out of an elder gun that a poor and private displeasure could do against a monarch. You might as well go about turning the sun to ice with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. Never trust his word after. Come, 'tis a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with you if the time were convenient.
There'll be a quarrel between us if you live.
I embrace it.
Keep thy word. How shall I know thee again?
Give me any gauge of thine, and I will wear it in my bonnet. Then if ever thou darest acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrel.
Here is my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
This will I also wear in my cap. If ever thou comes to me and say after tomorrow, this is my glove, by this hand I will take thee a box on the ear.
If ever I live to see it, I will challenge it.
Thou darest well be hanged.
Well, I will do it, though I take thee in the king's company.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Be friends, you English fools! Be friends! We have French quarrels enough if you could tell how to reckon.
Indeed, the French may lay 20 French crowns to one they will beat us, for they bear them on the shoulders. But there's no English treason to cut French crowns, and tomorrow the king himself will be a clipper. Upon the king, let our lives, our souls, our debts, our careful wives, our children, and our sins lay on the king. We must bear all, O hard conditioned twin born with greatness, subject to the breath of every fool whose sense no more can feel but his own wringing. What infinite heartsease must kings neglect that private men enjoy? The slave, remembered the country's peace, enjoys it, but in the gross brain, little watch will watch the king keeps to maintain the peace, whose ours the peasant best advantages.
My lord, your nobles, jealous of your absence, seek through your camp to find you.
Good old knight, collect them all together at my tent. I'll be before thee.
I shall do it, my lord.
O God of battles, still my soldiers' hearts. Take from them now the sense of reckoning. If the opposed numbers pluck their hearts from them. Not today, O Lord, oh, not today. Think not upon the fault my father made in compassing the crown.
My liege.
My brother Gloucester's voice. I know thy errand. I will go with thee. The day, my friends, and all things stay for me.
My lord, most humbly on my knee I beg the leading of the bar ward.
Take it, brave York. Now, soldiers, march away, and how thou pleasest God dispose the day.
Yield, cur!
Je pense que vous êtes un gentilhomme de bonne qualité.
Qualité? Calais no custore, mate. Are there a gentleman? What is thy name? Discuss! Senior Jew should be a gentleman. Perpend my words, oh, Senior Jew, and mark, oh, Senior Jew, thou diest on point of fox, except, oh, Senior, thou do give to me egregious ransom.
Prenez miséricorde et pitié de moi.
I shall not serve. I will have 40 mois, or I will fetch thy rim out of thy throat in drops of crimson blood.
Est-il impossible d'échapper la force de ton bras?
Brass cur, thou damned and luxurious mountain goat, offers me brass!
Pardonne-moi!
Sayest thou me so? Is that a ton of mois? Come hither, boy. Ask me this slave in French. What is his name?
Okay. Écoutez, comment êtes-vous appelé?
Monsieur le Fer?
He says his name is Master Fur.
Master Fur? Whoa, fur him and furk him and ferret him and discuss the same in French unto him.
I don't know the French for fur and ferret and furk.
Bid him prepare, for I will cut his throat.
Monsieur? Que dit-il?
Il me commande-vous dire que vous faites-vous prête, car si soldat qui disposait tout à cette heure de couper votre gorge.
Oi, couper la gorge, Permafoy, peasant, unless thou givest me crowns, brave crowns, or mangled shalt thou be by this my sword.
Pour l'amour de Dieu, je vous supplie, pardonnez. Je suis un gentilhomme de bonne qualité. Gardez ma vie et je vous donnerai 200 écus.
What are his words?
He prays you to save his life. He is a gentleman of a good house, and for his ransom he will give you 200 crowns.
Well, tell him my fury shall abate, and I the crowns will take.
Petit monsieur?
Encore, kill a contre son jurement de pardonner à con prisoner. Néanmoins, pour les écus lui avait promis, il est content de donner la liberté, l'enrichissement.
Sur mes genoux, je vous donne 1000 remerciements. Et je m'estime heureux que je suis tombé sur un chevalier. Je pense que le plus brave, vaillant et très distingué seigneur d'Angleterre.
Expound unto me, boy.
He gives you upon his knees 1,000 thanks, and he esteems himself happy that he hath fallen into the hands of one, as he thinks, the most brave, valorous, and thrice-worthy Signor of England.
As I suck blood, I will some mercy show. Follow me!
Servez-vous le grand capitaine. I did never know so full a voice issue from so empty a heart. Well, the saying is true. The empty vessel makes the greatest sound. Bardolph the Nym had 10 times more valour than this roaring devil in the old play, that everyone may pare his nails with wooden daggers, and they are both hanged. And so would this be, if we durst still anything adventurously. I must stay with the lackeys with the luggage of our camp. The French might have good prey of us, if you knew of it, for there is none to guard it but boys.
Well redone, thrice valiant countrymen. War's not done, yet keep the French the field.
The Duke of York commends him to your majesty.
Lives he, good uncle? Thrice within this hour I saw him down, thrice up again and fighting from helmet to spur, all bloody was.
In which array, brave soldier, doth he lie, larding the plain? And by his bloody side, yoke fellow to his honour-owing wounds, the noble Earl of Suffolk also lies. Suffolk first died, and York, all haggled over, comes to him, where in gore he lay in sleep, and takes him by the beard, kisses the gashes that bloody did yawn upon his face. He cries aloud, "Tarry, my cousin Suffolk, my soul shall thine keep company to heaven. Tarry, sweet soul, for mine then fly abreast, as in this glorious and well foughten field we kept together in our chivalry." Upon these words I came and cheered him up. He smiled me in the face, brought me his hand, and with a feeble grip said, "Dear my lord, commend my services to my sovereign." So did he turn, and over Suffolk's neck he threw his wounded arm, and kissed his lip, and so was fast to death. With blood he sealed a testament of noble ending love. The pretty and sweet manner of it brought those waters from me, which I would have stopped, but had I got so much of man in me, and all my mother came into mine eyes, gave me up to tears.
I blame you not. For hearing this, I must report out with blissful eyes, or they will issue too. But hark, what do the alarmists say? The French have reinforced their scattered men. Then every soldier kill his prisoners. Give the word through.
Kill the boys and the luggage. It is expressly against the law of arms. 'Tis as arrant a piece of knavery, mark you now, as can be offered in your conscience now, is it not?
'Tis certain. There's not a boy left alive. And the cowardly rascals that ran from the battle have done their slaughter. Besides, they have burned and carried away all that was in the king's tent. Wherefore the king, most worthily, hath caused every soldier to cut his prisoner's throat. 'Tis a gallant king.
No. It's born in Monmouth, Captain Gower. What call you the town's name where Alexander Pig was born?
Alexander the Great.
Oh, why I pray is not Pig Great. Pig Great, or the mighty, or the huge, or the magnanimous, all the one. Yes, save the phrases, there's some variations.
Alexander the Great was born in Macedon. His father was called Philip of Macedon, as I take it.
Yeah, I think it is in Macedon where Alexander was born. I tell you, Captain, if you look at the maps of the world, you shall find, I warrant you, the comparisons between Macedon and Monmouth, the situations of two is both alike. There's a river, Macedon, and there is moreover a river, Monmouth. Just why Monmouth? But it is out of my brains what is the name of the other river. But 'tis all one. 'Tis alike as my fingers is to my thumbs, and there is salmons both. If you mark Alexander's life well, Harry of Monmouth's life to come after it a different well. For there is figures of it. Alexander, God knows, you know, in his rages, and his furies, and his wraths, and his chollers, and his moods, and his displeasures, and his indignations, and also many little intoxicants in his brains, did in his ales and cups his best friend Tinctus.
Our king is not like that. He never killed any of his friends.
Why, it is not well done, mark you now, to take the tales out of my mouth. It is made and finished. I speak but in the figures and the comparisons of it. As Alexander killed his best friend Tinctus in his ales and his cups, so also Harry Monmouth, being his right wits, his good judgments, turned away the great fat knight in the belly to blood. He was full of jests, jokes and knaveries, and mocks. Forgot his name.
Sir John Falstaff?
Ah, that is he. I tell you, there is good men born a month.
Oh, here comes His Majesty.
I was not angry since I came to France until this instant. Take a trumpet, herald, ride far unto the horsemen on yon hill. If they will fight with us, bid them come down, avoid the field. They do offend our sight. If they'll do neither, we will come to them and make them scurry away as swift as stones enforced from the old Syrian slaves. Besides, we'll cut the throats of those we have, and not a man of them that we shall taste our mercy. Go and tell them, sir.
Here comes the herald of the French, my liege.
My eyes are humbler than they used to be.
Now, what means this, herald? Knowst thou not that I feared these bones of mine for ransom? Canst thou again for ransom?
No, great king. I come to thee for a shallop to cool thy sons. There we may wander over these bloody fields to book our dead and then to bury them, to sort our common from our noble men. For many of our princes woes in war lie drowned and soaked in mercenary blood. So do our vulgar drench their peasant limbs in blood of princes, and the wounded steeds fret fetlock deep in gore, and with wild rage jerk out their armed heels as their dead masters, killing them twice. Oh, give us leave, great king, to view the field in safety and dispose of their dead bodies.
I tell thee truly, herald, or not, if the day be ours or so. But yet many of your horsemen peer and gallop over the field.
The day is yours.
Praise be God, and all our strength for it. What is this castle that stands on high?
They call it Agincourt.
Then call we this the field of Agincourt, fought on the day of crispy honest.
Your grandfather, famous memory, please your majesty, and your great uncle Edward, Black Prince of Wales, as I have read in the chronicles, fought the most brave battle men of France.
They bid for Llewellyn.
Ah, your majesty says very true. If your majesty is remembered of it, the Welshmen did good service in the garden where leeks did grow, wearing leeks in their Monmouth caps, which your majesty know to this hour is an honourable badge of the service. I do believe your majesty takes no scorn to wear the leek upon St. David's Day.
I wear it for an memorable honour, for I am Welsh, you know, good countrymen.
All the water and wine cannot wash your majesty's Welsh blood out your body, I can tell you that. God bless it and preserve it. As long as it pleases His Grace and His Majesty too.
Thanks good, my countrymen.
Why, Chishu, I am your Majesty's countryman. I care not to know it. I will confess it to all the worlds. Not be ashamed of your Majesty, praise be God. As long as your Majesty is an honest man.
God keep me so. Our heralds, go with him. Bring me just notice of the numbers dead on both our parts. Call yonder fellow hither.
Soldier, Soldier, you must come to the king.
Soldier, why wearest thou that glove in thy cap?
And it please your majesty, 'tis a gage one that I shall fight withal, if you be alive.
An Englishman?
And it please your majesty, a rascal that swaggered with me last night, who, if alive, never dared to challenge this glove, I have sworn to take him a box on the ear. Or, if I see my glove in his cap, which he swore he would wear as he was a soldier if alive, I will strike it out soundly.
What think you, Captain Llewellyn? Is it fit the soldier keep his oath?
Oh, he is a craven and a villain enough, sir, please your majesty, my conscience.
It may be his enemy is a gentleman of great sort, quite from the answer of his degree.
Well, though he may be good as a gentleman, as the devil is, as Lucifer and Beelzebub himself, why, it is necessary, with your grace, that he keep his vow and his oath. If he be perjured, see you now, his reputation is as arrant a villain and a jackstaw's as ever his black shoe trod upon God's ground on his earth, in my conscience, love.
Then keep thy vow, sirrah, when thou meetst the fellow.
So I will, my liege, as I live.
Who servest thou under?
I'm the Captain Gower, my liege.
Gower is a good captain, and his good knowledge and literature in the wars.
Call him hither to me, soldier.
I will, my liege.
Here, Llewellyn, wear thou this favour for me, and stick it in thy cap. Well, Alanson and myself were down together, I plucked this glove from his helm. If any man challenge it, he is a friend to Alanson, and an enemy to our person. If thou encounter any such, apprehend him, and thou dost me love.
Your grace does me as great honours as can be desired in the hearts of his subjects. I would fain see the man, but that has two legs that shall find himself aggrieved at this glove. That is all. But I would fain see it once. Please God of his grace that I might see.
Knowest thou Gower?
Oh, he is my dear friend. Please you.
Pray thee, go seek him and bring him to my tent.
I will fetch him. Huh?
My Lord of Warwick and my brother Gloucester, follow Llewellyn closely at the heels. The glove which I have given him may haply purchase him a box of the ear. It's a soldier's, I by bargain should wear it myself. Follow good cousin Warwick, if that the soldiers strike him, as I judge by his blunt bearing, he will keep his word, some sudden mischief may arise of it. For I do know Llewellyn valiant, and touch would collar hot as gunpowder, and quickly will return an injury. Follow and see there be no harm between them. Go you with me, Uncle of Exeter.
A warrant is tonight, you captain.
God's will and his pleasure, Captain, I beseech you now, from the face to the king, there is more good toward you, peradventure, than is in your knowledge to treat.
Sir, know you this glove?
Oh, the glove, I know the glove is a glove.
I know this, and thus I challenge it.
Oh, blood! And aren't traitors any in the universal world, or in France, or in England?
How now, sir? You villain.
You think I'll be forsworn?
Oh, stand away, Captain Gower. I will give treason his payment into ploughs.
I'm no traitor.
Oh, that's a lie in thy throat. I charge you in his majesty's name. Apprehend him. He's a friend of the Duke Alençon's.
Oh no, what's the matter?
Well, my Lord of Warwick, here is, praise be God for it, a most contagious treason come to light. Look you as you shall desire in a summer's day. Well, here is his majesty.
How now? What's the matter?
My liege, here is a villain and a traitor. That look, your grace, has struck the glove which your majesty is take out the helmet of an ensign.
My liege, this was my glove. Here is the fellow of it. And he that I gave it to in change promised to wear it in his cap. I promised to strike him if he did. I met this man with my glove and his cap, and I've been as good as my word.
Oh, your majesty, here now, saving your majesty's manhood. What an arrant, rascally, beggarly, lousy knave it is. I hope your majesty is bearing me testimony and witness, and will avouchment that this is the glove of a ransom which your majesty has given me. Hey, in your conscience now.
Give me thy glove, soldier. Look, here is the fellow with it. 'Twas I indeed thou promised to strike, and thou hast given me most bitter terms.
Please your majesty, let his neck answer for it, if there is any martial law in the world.
How canst thou make me satisfaction?
All offences, my lord, came from the heart. Never came any from mine that might offend your majesty.
It was ourselves thou didst abuse.
Your majesty came to me, but not like yourself. You came to me as a common man, witnessed the night, your garments, your lowliness, and what your highness suffered under that shape. I beseech you, take it for your own fault and not for mine. For a Jabin as I took you for, I made no offence, therefore I beseech your majesty pardon me.
Here, Uncle Exeter, fill this glove with crowns and give it to this fellow. Keep it, fellow, and wear it for an honour in thy cap till I do challenge it. Give him his crowns, and captain, you must needs be friends with him.
By this day in this light, the fellow has metal enough in his belly. Old, there's 12 pence for you. And I pray you to serve God and keep you out of brawls and troubles and quarrels and dissensions, and I warrant you, it's the better for you.
I want none of your money.
Oh, it is with good will. I can tell you, it will serve to mend your shoes. Come. Wherefore should you be so bashful? Your shoes is not so good. 'Tis a good shilling, I warrant you, or I will change it.
Now, Harold, are the dead numbered?
Here is the number of the slaughtered French.
What prisoners are good slaughter taken, uncle?
Charles, Duke of Orleans, nephew to the king, John, Duke of Bourbon, and Lord Boucicaut, of other lords, barons, knights, and squires, full 1,500, besides common men.
This note doth tell me of 10,000 French in the field lie slain, and princes in this number, and nobles bearing banners, there are dead 126. Added to these of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400, of the which 500 were but yesterday dubbed knights. So that in these 10,000 they have lost are but 1,600 mercenaries. The rest are princes, barons, lords, knights, squires, and gentlemen of blood and quality. The names of those are nobles alike dead. Charles de la Bref, High Constable of France. Jacques of Chatillon, Admiral of France. Master of the Crossbows, Lord d'Ambures. Great Master of France, the Grace of Guichard Dauphin. John, Duke of Alençon. Anthony, Duke of Bourbon. The brother to the Duke of Burgundy, and Edward, Duke of Bar. Of lusty earls, Grandpré and Roussy, Falconbridge and Foix, Beaumont and Mull, Portmont and Lestrade. Here was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of our English dead? Edward, the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Ketley, Davy Graham, Esquire, none else of name, and all other men but 25. O God, thy arm was here, and not to us, but to thy arm ascribe we owe. When without stratagem, but in plain shock and even play battle, was ever known so great and little loss on one part and on the other. Take it, God, for is none but thine.
'Tis wonderful.
Come, go in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host to boast of this, or take that praise from God which is his only.
It is not lawful, please your majesty, to tell how many is killed.
Yes, Captain, but with this acknowledgement that God fought for us.
Yes, my conscience, he did us great good.
Do we all holy rites, let there be sung non nobis and Te Deum, the dead with charity enclosed in clay, and then to Calais, and to England then, where never from France arrived more happy men.
Vouchsafe to those that have not read the story, that I may prompt them, and of such as have, I humbly pray them to admit the excuse of time, of numbers, and due course of things which cannot, in their huge and proper life, be here presented. Now we bear the king towards Calais. Grant him there seen, heave him away upon your winged thoughts athwart the sea. Behold, the English beach pales in the flood with men, with wives and boys, whose shouts and claps outvoice the deep-mouthed sea, which like a mighty whiffler for the king seems to prepare his way. So let him land, and solemnly see him set on to London, so swift a pace of thought that even now you may imagine him upon Blackheath, where that his lords desire him to have borne his bruised helmet and his bended sword before him through the city. He forbids it, being free from vainness and self-glorious pride, giving full trophy, signal, and ostent, quite from himself to God. But now behold, in the quick forge and working house of thought, how London doth pour out her citizens, the mayor and all his brethren in best sort, like to the senators of the antique Rome, with the plebeians swarming at their heels, go forth and fetch their conquering Caesar in. As by a lower but loving likelihood, were now the general of our gracious empress, as in good time he may from Ireland coming, bringing rebellion broached on his sword, how many would the peaceful city quit to welcome him? Much more, and much more cause did they this harry. Now in London place him. As yet the lamentation of the French invites the King of England's stay at home. The Emperor's coming in behalf of France to order peace between them, and amidst all occurrences, whatever chanced, till Harry's back return again to France. There must we bring him. And myself have played the interim by remembering you 'tis past. Then brook abridgment, and your eyes advance after your thoughts straight back again to France.
Nay, that's right, but why wear your leek today? St. David's Day is past.
Well, there is occasions and causes why and wherefore and all things. I will tell you as my friend, Captain Gower, the rascally, scold, beggarly, lousy, pragging knave Pistol, which you and yourself and all the world know to be no better than a fellow, look you now, of no merits. He is come to me and brings me bread and salt yesterday, look you, and bid me eat my leek. Oh, it was in a place where I could not breathe on contention with them. But I will be so bold as to wear it in my cap till I see him once again. And then I will tell him a little piece of my desires.
Why, here he comes. Oh. And swelling like a turkey cock.
Oh, 'tis no matter for the swellings, nor as turkey cocks. God bless you, ancient pistol, you scurfy lousy knave. God bless you.
Art thou Bedlam? Dost thou thirst, base Trojan, to have me fold up Parker's fatal web? Hence, I'm qualmish at the smell of leek.
I beseech you heartily, scurfy lousy knave, at my desires and my requests and my petitions to eat, look you, this leek, because, look you, you do not love it, nor your affections and your appetites and your digestions does not agree with it. I would desire you to eat it.
Not for Cadwallader and all his goats.
Oh, there is one goat for you. Will you be so good, Scald Knave, as eat it?
Base Trojan, thou shalt die.
Oh, you say very true, Scald Knave. When God's will is, I will desire you to live in the meantime and eat your victuals. Come, let us sauce for it. You called me yesterday, mountain squire, but I will make you today a squire of low degree. I pray you, fool too, if you can mock a leek, you can eat a leek.
Enough, Captain. You have astonished him.
I say, I will make him eat some part of my leek, or I will beat his pate for days. Bite, I pray you. 'Tis good for your green wound and your bloody coxcomb.
Must I bite?
Oh, yes, certainly, and out of doubt, and out of question too, and ambiguity.
By this leek, I will most horribly revenge. Oh, I eat and eat, I swear.
Eat, I pray you. Oh, will you have some more sauce to your leek? There is not enough leek to swear by.
Quite like cudgel, thou just see I eat.
Oh, much good to you, Scald Knave, heartily. I pray you, throw none away. The skin is good for your broken coxcomb. Now, when you take occasions to see leeks hereafter, I pray you, mock at them. That is all.
Good.
Aye, leeks is good. Hold you. There is a groat to heal your pate.
Me? A groat?
Oh, yes, verily, and in truth you shall take it. I have another leek in my pocket, which you shall eat.
Take thy groat in earnest of revenge.
If I owe you anything, I will pay you in cudgels. Should be a woodmonger and buy nothing of me but cudgels. God be with you, and keep you, and heal your pate.
All hell shall stir for this.
Oh, just go. Go. You are a counterfeit, cowardly knave. Will you mock at an ancient tradition begun upon an honourable respect and worn as a memorable trophy of predecessed valour, and dare not avouch in your deeds any of your words? I have seen you gleeking and galling at this gentleman twice or thrice, and you thought, because he cannot speak English in the native garb, he could therefore not handle an English cudgel. Wow, you find it otherwise, and henceforth let a Welsh correction teach you a good English condition. Fare you well.
Doth fortune play the hussif with me now? News have I that my Nell is dead i' the spittle of malady of France. There my rendezvous is quite cut off. Old do I wax, and from weary limbs honour is cudgelled. Well, board I'll turn, something lean to cut purse of quick hand. To England will I steal, and there I'll steal, and patches will I get unto these scars, and swear I got them in the Gallia Wars.
Peace to this meeting wherefore we are met, and to our brother France and our sister health and fair time of day, joy and good wishes to our most fair and princely cousin Catherine, and as a branch and member of this royalty by whom this great assembly is contrived, Princess French and peers, health to you all.
Your mightiness on both parts best can witness, which to reduce to our former favor, you are all assembled, and my speech entreats that I should know the lad. Why gentle peace should not expel these inconveniences and bless us with her former quality.
If King of France you would the peace whose want give growth to the imperfections which you have cited, you must first buy that peace with full accord to all our just demands, whose tenors and particular effects you have briefly scheduled in your hands.
I have but with a cursory eye or glance the articles. Please it your grace to appoint some of your council presently to sit with us once more, with better heed to resurvey them. We will certainly pass our accept and peremptory answer.
Fair Catherine, and most fair, will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as will enter a lady's ear and plead his love suit to a gentle heart?
Your Majesty, so mock me. I cannot speak your England.
Oh, fair Catherine, if you will love me soundly with your French heart, I will be glad to hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell what is like me.
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Que dit-il? Que je suis semblable à les anges?
Oui, vraiment, sur votre grâce, ainsi dit-il.
I said so, dear Catherine, and I must not blush to affirm it.
Oh, bon Dieu, les langues des hommes sont pleines de tromperie.
What says she, fair one, that the tongues of men are full of deceits?
Oui, that the tongues of the man is be full of deceit. That is the princess.
The princess is the better Englishwoman. In fact, Kate, my wooing is fit for thy understanding. I am glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst, thou would find me such a plain king, that thou would think I had sold my farm to buy my crown. Give me your answer in faith, do, and so clap hands in a bargain. How say you, lady?
Sauf votre honneur, me understand well.
Marry, if you would put me to verses, or to dance for your sake, Kate, why you undid me. For the one I have neither words nor measure, and for the other I have no strength in measure, yet unreasonable measure and strength. If I could win a lady at leapfrog, or by vaulting into my saddle with my arm on my back, under the correction of bracket be it spoken, I should quickly leap into a wife. If thou would have such a one, take me, and take me, take a soldier, take a king. And what sayest thou then to my love? Speak, my fair, and fairly I pray thee.
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, it's not possible that you should love the enemy of France, Kate, but in loving me you should love the friend of France. For I love France so well that I will not part with a village of it. I shall have it all mine, and Kate, when France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France and you are mine.
I cannot tell what is that.
No, Kate, I will tell thee in French, which I'm sure will hang upon my tongue like a new married wife about her husband's neck, hardly to be shook off. Je compte sur la possession de France et quand vous avez la possession de moi. Let me see what then. St. Denis be my speed. Ton fortune est France et vous êtes bien. It is as easy for me, Kate, to conquer the kingdom as to speak so much more French. I shall never move thee in French unless it be to laugh at me.
Sauf votre honneur, le français que vous parlez, il est meilleur que l'anglais lequel je parle.
No faith is it not, Kate. But thy speaking of my tongue, and I thine most truly falsely, must needs to be granted to be much in one. But, Kate, dost thou understand thus much English? Canst thou love me?
I cannot tell.
Can any of your neighbours tell, Kate? Ask them, come. I know thou lovest me, and a night when you come into your closet, you'll question this gentlewoman about me. And I know, Kate, you will to her dispraise those parts of me that you love with your heart. Shall not thou and I between St. Denis and St. George compound a boy, half French, half English, that shall go to Constantinople and take the Turk by the beard? Shall we not? What sayest thou, my fair flower deluge?
I do not know that.
No, 'tis hereafter to know, but now to promise. Do but promise, Kate, you will endeavour for your French part of such a boy. For my English moiety, take the word of a king and a bachelor. How answer you, la plus belle Catherine de Montréchet de Vandes?
Your Majesty are false French enough to deceive the most sage demoiselle that is en France.
Now, fly upon my false French, by mine own honour, in true English I love thee, Kate, by which honour I dare not swear thou lovest me, yet my blood begins to flatter me that thou dost, notwithstanding the poor untempering effect of my visage. Now, beshrew my father's ambition, he was thinking of civil wars when he got me. Therefore was I created with a stubborn outside, with an aspect of iron, that when I come to woo ladies, I fright them. But I will tell thee aloud, England is fine, Ireland is fine, France is fine, and Henry Plantagenet is fine. Come, your answer in broken music, for thy voice is music, and thy English broken. Therefore, Queen of all Catherine, break thy mind to me in broken English. Would thou have me?
That is as it so please le roi mon père.
Nay, it will please him well, Kate, it shall please him, Kate.
Then it shall also content me.
Upon that I kiss your hand and call you my queen.
Laissez, monseigneur, laissez. Ma foi, je ne veux pas que vous abaissez votre grandeur en baissant la main d'une. Notre Seigneur, un dernier serviteur. Excusez-moi, je vous supplie, mon très puissant Seigneur.
Then I will kiss your lips, Kate.
Les dames et demoiselles pour être baisses devant les noces, il n'est pas la coutume de France.
Madame, my interpreter, what says she?
That it is not be the fashion for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is in English.
To kiss?
Your Majesty entend better que moi.
Is not a fashion for maids in France to kiss before they are married, would she say?
Oui, vraiment.
Oh, Kate. Nice customs, curtsy to great kings. Dear Kate, you and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate, and the liberty that follows our places stops the mouth of all fine faults, as I will do yours for upholding the nice fashion of your country and denying me a kiss. Therefore, patiently and yielding. You have witchcraft in your lips, Kate. There is more eloquence than a sugar touch of them than in the tongues of the French council, and they should sooner persuade Harry of England than a general petition of monarchs. Here comes your father.
God save your Majesty. My royal cousin. Teach you our princess English?
I would have her learn, my fair cousin, how perfectly I love her, and that is good English.
Is she not apt?
Our tongue is rough, cuz, and my condition is not smooth, so having neither the voice nor the heart of flattery about me, I cannot so conjure up the spirit of love in her that he will appear in his true likeness.
Well, pardon the frankness of my mouth, if I answer you for that. If you would conjure in her, you must make a circle. If conjure up love in her in his true likeness, he must appear naked and blind. Can you blame her then, being a maid yet rosed over with the virgin crimson of modesty, if she deny the appearance of a naked blind boy in her naked seeing self? It were, my lord, a hard condition for a maid to consign to.
Yet they do wink and yield as love is blind and enforces.
They are then excused, my lord, when they see not what they do.
Then, good my lord, teach your cousin to consent winking.
I will wink on her to consent, my lord, if you will teach her to know my meaning. For maids, well summered and warm kept, are like flies at Bartholomew tide, blind though they have their eyes, and then they will endure handling, which before would not abide looking on.
This mole ties me over at a time in a hot summer, and ere I shall catch the fly your cousin in the latter end, and she must be blind too.
As love is, my lord, before it loves.
It is so. And you may, some of you, thank love for my blindness, who cannot see many a fair French city for one fair French maid who stands in my way.
Yes, my lord, you see them perspectively. The city is turned to a maid, for they are all girdled with maiden walls that no war hath entered.
Shall Kate be my wife?
So please you.
I am content. So the maiden sees you talk of may wait on her. So the maid that stood away from my wish shall show me the way to my will.
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Is it so, my lords of England?
The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and then in secret, according to their firm proposed natures.
Only he hath not yet subscribed this, where your majesty demands that the King of France, having any occasion to write for matter of grant, shall name your highness in this form and with this addition, in French, Notre très cher fils Henri, Roi d'Angleterre, hérité de France, and thus in Latin, Preclarimus filis noster Enrique, Rei Anglais, et ires Francion.
No, this I have not, brother. So denied, but our request shall make me let it pass.
I pray you then in love and dear alliance that that one article rank with the rest, and thereupon give me your daughter.
Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise up issue to me that the contending kingdoms of France and England, whose very shores look pale with envy at each other's happiness, may cease their hatred. And this dear conjunct plant neighborhood and Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms, that never war advance his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France. Amen.
Amen.
Now welcome, Kate, and bear me witness all that here I kiss her as my sovereign queen. Prepare we for our marriage, on which day my lord of Burgundy will take your oaths, and all appearances for a surety of our leagues. Then shall I swear to Kate, and you to me, and may our oaths well kept and prosperous be.